It's time for the day's business news. Stephen Carroll is here on set. He's going to start with HSBC. You were saying before we came on air, actually, I wasn't here yesterday, but you said it's very complicated to explain this, isn't it? But it's the bank at the centre of the Swiss leaks revelations on tax evasion.
Yeah, that's right, and still more of these leaks to come as the newspapers publishing this information or spreading it out over the week. But we're looking particularly at HSBC itself today, the bank's Swiss private banking arm at the centre of those leaks, showing the bank helped wealthy clients to dodge tax. The revelations have generated calls for inquiries in many parts of the world. The US is in particular focus, where HSBC paid almost $2 billion to settle money laundering allegations in 2012. Catherine Viette has more.
HSBC is in the hot seat again. Authorities in several countries are calling for an investigation after detailed allegations surfaced that the bank helped more than 100,000 wealthy clients avoid paying taxes. In the U.S., where the bank has already paid a nearly $2 billion fine, it could also see its deferred prosecution deal over money laundering reopened. Some are blaming the bank's policies for its current woes.
It's a bank that has, because of its aggressive objectives, I think, in client acquisition, has developed clients in very dangerous areas like armed merchants, drug dealers. But it's all changing very fast, and somehow HSBC is the last dinosaur of that era.
The bank is already facing prosecution in France and Belgium, where a judge is said to be considering issuing international arrest warrants for directors of its Swiss private banking division. Many say the heart of the debate going forward will be the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion.
I would be surprised if it is a unique set of circumstances to HSBC to do the tax avoidance advice, which, let's not forget, might not be popular but isn't illegal.
For its part, HSBC has admitted responsibility for past control failures, but it says it's now fundamentally changed with strong compliance controls in place.
Let's move on now to look at what's happening on the markets. And in Europe, I can tell you that HSBC shares have opened down 0.8% on that potential for further investigations into the bank. A pretty flat start on the European markets after yesterday's falls of around 1% across the board. Shares in the tyre company Michelin opening down 4% after its disappointing results, showing an 8% fall in net profit. Plenty of worries still around Greece weighing on the markets in Europe as well today. Over in Asia, let's take a look at how things are shaping up there. The market's digesting news that inflation in China sunk to a 5-year low in January of 0.8%. Not worrying the markets too much, though, as you can see the Shanghai Composite up 1.5% there. That's over hopes the Chinese government will launch new stimulus on the back of more signs of a slowdown in the Chinese economy.
Now, inflation, of course, also a big concern in Russia. Very different reasons, though.
That's because it's too high as opposed to too low. The rate of increase in prices in Russia in January was 15%. In January, as I said, the rise even more pronounced when it came to food. Prices there up 21% year on year. Things not being helped by the falling value of the ruble, which is making imports so much more expensive for consumers. Surveys from Bloomberg saying this puts Russia in the group of inflation monsters, a club that includes Venezuela, Argentina and Ukraine, where inflation is over 10% in all of those countries.
And oil prices also a big part of Russia's problems, of course, but there are signs that change could be on the way there.
We've seen oil prices creep up in recent weeks after the 50% fall in prices that we've seen over the past 6 months or so. A barrel of oil now trading for over $57 a barrel, so significantly improved on those lows that it hit in the past couple of weeks. The International Energy Agency says the spending cuts announced by big oil companies and a reduction in drilling in the United States is spurring this rebound in prices. The OPEC group of oil-producing nations, meanwhile, says that tallies with their view that US shale production will fall and that demand for their oil will rise. Let's move on next to the look at some of the day's companies news. And the chipmaker Qualcomm has been fined a record $975 million by Chinese authorities. The penalty part of a wave of competition inquiries targeting foreign firms in the country. China had complained about the high cost of technology licenses owned by Qualcomm. It's agreed to change its practices as part of the settlement. The Swiss bank UBS has seen profits rise 13% in the last 3 months of 2014. It now plans to pay shareholders a double dividend after a revamp of its structures. Shares in the bank have fallen 16% in the past year. They've opened down today almost 3%. and the online video streaming service Netflix has launched in Cuba. The move is seen as a symbolic step in the loosening of US restrictions on trade with the country, but only a small fraction of Cubans are thought to have internet fast enough to watch Netflix programs.
And finally from Stephen, they've already had one massive hit with one app. They've got another surefire hit on the way.
Yeah, this is right. You weren't here yesterday, but I've just realised this is the second day in a row we've got Katy Perry in the business news. This is a company called Glue Mobile that signed a deal with Katy Perry to make a game based on her life. It's a 5-year exclusive deal. Glue Mobile has already had huge success with their Kim Kardashian app, which allows users to experience some of her lifestyle. We don't know yet exactly what they're going to do with Katy Perry and how they're going to make her into a game, but this is a look at what the Kim Kardashian app looks like. So as it gives you a chance to live her life, as I say. The company's had sales of almost $73 million in the past 3 months, so plenty of people interested in getting behind the scenes of these celebrities' lives. But what I'm hoping is the Katy Perry game will somehow include Left Shark from the Super Bowl, which is the internet sensation.
It was impressive, wasn't it? Yeah, it was very impressive. And also the Tarzan thing, because that was worth it
one
as
hopes.
well. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to get Katy Perry in tomorrow?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, we shall check.
I'm still waiting on her to hear back from her.
This time tomorrow, okay? I'm going to mention it. This time tomorrow. Make sure you're watching. Steve with Business.